In today's video, we will just uncover how the beef started in Northwest, including multiple topics. This video includes a lot of documented information, so without further ado, we're gonna jump straight into the video so I don't hold anyone's time up. On a day where students attended Dunbar High School, a nigga from Ledroit Park named Little Nine would bid on a nigga from Columbia Heights village named Little Za. This would trigger Za to whip out his iron on Little Nine and another nigga named Young Zo, who is also from Ledroit Park, after school. Za would then be walking with his mans Ron from Davi, who was from Columbian Heights village as well, and Little Nine and Young Zo would have a shootout with those two. The next day, Little Nine and Young Zo would be outside, and they would catch Ron. Little Nine would be robbing Ron with iron pointed to his face. Soon as Nine went into his backpack, Ron would smack Nine with a pound of weed and try to run off. With weed nuggets inside of Nine's hoodie, he would blow fat shit along with Zo at Ron, causing Za to pop his car door and hop into the shootout. Sadly, Ron would be shot, and Little Za would be fatally shot. Long live Little Za. Little Cat, who was a OG from the V, would send his young nigga Junior to go get back on them. Ron and Junior would confront Little Nine and Young Zo at Tino's corner store, causing a shootout where Junior would be grazed. Wick 35, who was from Columbia Heights village, would give Young Zo Little Cat's drop, and hours later, Cat would be found overcooked with 22s. Long live Little Cat. A nigga from Florida Park named Little Mooey would go bend with Little Nine and bag Junior for his gun. Junior would send his address, and Young Zo and Nine would go bend. Little Nine would black out off a perk in the house. Junior could have took his life, but Junior waited outside and had a small shootout with Zo until he pulled off.
He's selling!
When Zo and Moe would walk to the store, Junior would hop out and shoot Moe. After walking to the hospital to get his injuries treated, Moe would catch Junior and Wick 35, and Little Nine would catch them as well from a different angle, hopping out blowing, causing Junior to get shot. Wick, Moni, who is known as Young Drench and is from the V, and Junior would be caught by Moe while they would be loose, and Junior would get his shit stood over while Wick would take a arm tap. Long live Junior. Events would take a big fucking twist after this, where allegedly, right after this drill, Little Nine would cook Moe right in front of Young Zo and his sexy ass sister Mora. This is how Alias niggas from Florida Park such as Little 2 Act, Little Muke, and D Wade emerged and hopped in the mix. Rest in peace to Little Moe. One day, when Mook would fish the V for a victim, he would catch Debo, who was the nephew of Little Cat, and would shoot Debo. After recovering from his injuries and not having a clue who shot him, he would go to the studio with Wick 35. Little Nine would come to the studio and catch Little John, who was from Florida Park, outside and make him chew on fentanyl. Before Wick and Debo could even rap, they went to the staircase in their studio where Little Mook would catch Debo smoking a J and would shoot him with a switch to his back. Instantly after this, Wick would come downstairs and switch down Mook. Both of these niggas would get deep fried this day, but somehow, Debo would survive, and Mook would be pronounced dead in the hospital. Rest in peace to Little Mook. Police would investigate this situation and wouldn't charge Wick for murdering him, as it would be propelled as self-defense. White Boy, who is the twin of Wick 35, would then make his way to the studio to diss Mook, but as they parked their car, Little Nine would come out the cut and would graze White Boy, but shoot Wick in his lung. Shortly after this situation, in the same day, Nine would bend Florida Park and he would kill Little John. Rest in peace, Little John. Nine would allegedly be collecting these guns off of the niggas he killed. In the evening, Zo would come out his back door and would get shot by Debo after he would be unexpectedly sitting outside. Little Nine would hear that shit dropping off and he would instantly come from the front and shoot Debo in his leg, but he would get away.
Die! What the fuck?
Zo couldn't do nothing to get back, as he would be sent to North Carolina for family reasons after he stayed out the way and made money for so long. White Boy would have a shootout with YMS Little Bully, who hopped in the mix sooner after Wick drove him down Yellow Brick Road. Debo, Wick and White Boy would then fly out New York and would be having fun. Mine would be bored, and he would hit up southeast after no ops would be trying to come outside. This would be the pictures of them out in New York having fun. They would touch back down in the city and Wick would make his first song dissing Mook and Leroy.
I'm moving on move. Try reaching the dip, put that blood on his feet. I'm the young white boy, got a pee in my weed. If it ever go down, he go bump in his drink. Lee Drew, not none. Lee Drew, not none, they hood kick. I'm done with Lee Drew. Put that pee on the hood, shit, make me some news. My dude, and youngin', I'm dropping some points. The youngin' like Sonic, he dropping the scope. He got hit with that drink and he couldn't reach. Tried running, he slipped, I'm crushing his bone. I got back and I'm geeking for bump. I got aim in my head and I'm going like Trump. I got act on the youngin', I smell like a skunk.
When Wick said he got act on a youngin', he smelt like a skunk. This refers to the time where he had a shootout with a nigga after he hid in the dumpster. Baby Nolo, who is also the cousin of Wick and emerged from 640, had grazed Debo after catching him outside one time. Wick would find out that Nolo shot Debo and Wick would instantly start beefing with his cousin. To attempt to get his get back, Debo would go down Florida Park with two Glocks and would get caught by Nolo. Nolo would rob him for both of his guns and his Canada Goose. Wick and White Boy would not approve of this shit when Debo came back and told them. This would cause White Boy to drive down Florida Park and shoot baby Nolo, and Wick would take his guns. After Nolo would recover from the shooting, he would instantly get back and would drive down the V, kicking down Wick's door and shooting the switch at Debo but not hitting anything. Debo would decide to chase him out the house with his gun, but Nolo would already be down Florida Park. Debo would hop in his car and would pull down Florida Park, seeing Nolo, but Nolo would fry his nugget, and he would die on the scene. Rest in peace to Debo. Wick and White Boy would be on instant get back for Debo, and they would catch Lol to Act and Nolo together, triggering a shootout where to Act would get hit in his shoulder and his arm by Wick. Nolo would take a trip down the V with to Act after he recovered and go on live going up the stairs of Wick's apartment. White Boy came down the stairs to try and drop shit on either one of them. But as Nolo was busting his gun, he would accidentally head tap to Act in his shit and he would instantly die on scene, while Nolo would flee. Long live Lol to Act. Soon after this, a nigga from Leroy Park named Marquise would get shot by a nigga named Rax from Kennedy Street. Rax would then drive down the school right after the shooting blasting music, but Little Nine would be at the school during this moment. He would tap Blatt at his car causing the school to go on lockdown. Unfortunately, when Nine tapped Blatt, he switched down a nigga named Amir Watson who was from Fordham Drive. Rest in peace Amir Watson. Dunbar would come back off lockdown the next day, and Wick and White Boy would be at school where Wick would knock out Marquise and beat Rax on video. Nine would then catch Rax after his ass beating in the afternoon and would kill him. Rest in peace to Rax. Marquis would get shot by Wick after being caught, and then not to make it worse, after he came out the hospital, Nine would instantly face him with the switch. Rest in peace to Marquis. Uptown Worky, who emerged from 640, would face a nigga who was related to Marquis, but it would be unknown who. Soon, a nigga from Florida Park named Day Day would get shot by a nigga named Slime, but then Little Nine would shoot Slime right after the shooting after he tried to flee. Nine would be torching men that he was supposed to be cool with. Meanwhile, Wick 35 would get put on the box along with Worky, and Wick would drop a diss to his ops.
I'm really a jack, got doggery with yellow Muga, man, J got face by the sweat. White boy dropped the bullets and wet up his fit. Shot been on his weed, wasn't screaming in the air. You could call me a rapper that worked 30 stick. Marquis scored some shots before I sent him a dick. It was little too high, he got hit with that shit. Now he called a face shot, Brody went like a bitch. Before I made me a song, I called me a vid. After Black 23 made a dumb nigga flip. Called a youngin' on camera, back up your wrist. If I get in that pain, I'ma show I got hot. How you came for 640 but playing the pop. I'm a face, baby, no lie, I reap on his block. No, not gonna be safe if you get with that drop. See that youngin' outside, stop bumping my stop. It's a matter of time, touch the switch on my Glock. I'm a kid in his ice if he died with his watch. Lonely the man, lonely lose out. Lonely Debo.
12 would hear this diss, and they would be on dicks. ATF would flood Northwest, and they would lock up Slime for having to switches and ARP, along with Worky for having a red ARP, but they wouldn't find Wick. As they would attempt to lock up Fat Wick, who was from Kennedy Street, he would try to punch police, causing him to get shot to death. Rest in peace to Fat Wick. The body cam footage would be shown right here. Further on, a few hours later, police would investigate Wick and Nolo after they would be fighting. Nolo would get detained after whipping out a gun on Wick. Police would take Nolo into custody, but then would take Wick in an investigation room, and the officer would decide to make a deal with Wick and Worky. He would offer the two guns if they would kill baby Nolo, and they would accept the deal. As Nolo would get released from custody, a few hours later, Wick and Worky would see him outside, and Wick would cook his brains open. Rest in peace to baby Nolo. Wick would live to his word of facing baby Nolo, then he would stay down after this shooting. Meanwhile, Day-Day would catch Ambrose, who was the sister of Little Nine's girlfriend Mora, and he would whip out on her. Rose would have to be with a nigga from 640 named LB who had snitched on Dwayne prior to them meeting. Dwayne would try to bend their apartments after LB snitched, and Rose would start blowing at Dwayne. When Rose came back inside, she would see LB trying to fuck on her sister Mora, but Mora already called the cops. Police would chase and detain LB but naked. I will show body cam footage. LB would get charged with involuntary assault, indecent exposure, and intent to commit rape. Free him, but not around me.
Get your funky ass on!
Unfortunately, the next day, D-Wade would bend the apartments and run up the stairs, and he would head tap Rose. Rest in peace to Ambrose. D-Wade would backdoor Day-Day shortly after this when he came to his house. Long live Day-Day. D-Wade's run wouldn't last long, as he would be caught down Leadroit by young Zoe and Nine after Zoe visited the city again, and they both deep-fried his nugget. Rest in peace D-Wade. Nine would have meta glasses recording the incident, and he dropped them on scene, leaving feds being able to pick them up. That same police officer would be the one to recover those glasses, and he would contact Wick and Worky again to set a bounty on Little Slime. Wick and Worky would be in the back of a police car, and the officer would go down Florida Park to pick up Little Slime. He would pull up to 7th Street, but would stop his car and check his engine. Wick would whip out Blat and put it on his onion from the back seat, causing blood and meat to gush everywhere on the car seat. They would ditch the car, and Wick and Worky would make their way back to the crib where Wick would record more music. Long live Little Slime. Shortly after, the cop would call Wick and Worky to pull up down Kennedy Street. As they would pull up, the cop would show them the micro-ARP and the money they were supposed to get. The cop unexpectedly started shooting at Wick and Worky, and he would head tap Wick, and Worky would get away. After Worky ran, the cop would end himself as well. Rest in peace to Wick 35. This incident would spark the internet, causing the mayor of DC to enforce a law on officers. After this incident, police would be deep, and they would be monitoring DC heavy for a little minute. Baby Kari, who was young at the time, and is from Kennedy Street, would be pressed by a police officer against a trash can for no reason. Meanwhile, outside Dunbar, a nigga named Tall Whites, who is from 640, would get whipped out on by a nigga named Little Bill from Florida Park. Allegedly, after this, Tall Whites would catch Little Bill, and Baby Kari would also be present. Shots had went off and Little Bill would get head tapped and put in a coma. It's unknown who had tapped him. Whites would then shoot at Baby Kari but would miss. Meanwhile, Little Nine would allegedly run in Young Drench's house, and would kill his mother, along with Baby Nolo's mother. That's gonna be the last topic of part 1, and part 2 will be uncovered soon after this video. In summary, this is how the beef started, and I hope you guys enjoy this video.